Hello and welcome to Theme Park Information, and this is actually the last review of my recent US trip, and this is for Universal Islands of Adventure, and I'm also just going to throw in the studios as well, just get them both done. I know they're two separate parks with separate gates, but they are pretty connected, and it's just a little bit easier. So this is actually a really interesting review for me because it's kind of a little bit of a different equation. So usually it's about the quality of the rides, park appearance, stuff like that. This is more whether or not it's actually value for money to have gone, which is a really weird sort of like way of looking at it. But the park tickets for Universal, and I imagine it is also the same for Disney, are just so much more. Like you are looking at like around like $200 for like a day ticket, and if you go for like multiple days, it's like $175 sort of thing each day. So it does really hit home and hit hard how much it is. And if you were to get fast pass, like for example the day we went, you're looking at like $250 or so. So that is a high bar, I think, in terms of pricing to whether or not it's worth it. So let's break it down. What was really, really good? And I think quite obviously Velocicoaster and Hagrid's were really good fun. I think I actually will do separate reviews for both of them because I think you can go into them a bit more in depth for each one. They then have some really good other rides like the Mummy. I'm a huge fan of that ride. Really, really good. I'm actually a big fan of the Spider-Man, like the indoor interactive sort of ride. I know it's not a roller coaster, but really good fun. Obviously, Incredible Hulk, that's a great ride. Just recently pretty much had its whole track redone, just because it was being, massively overworked by the park. They were just dispatching trains so quickly for it. Amazing first half of that coaster. Does die out towards the end, unfortunately. They then have a couple of drop towers. I didn't do them this time around, but I have done them previously, and they are good fun. It's a park with extremely good theming, very immersive, but there are a few duds, I suppose, in there. I actually thought, for example, that King Kong the queue is phenomenal, really good queue. The facade of the building is phenomenal, looks so good. Extremely underwhelming wide. My god, it is oh dear. Like that is not going on that again. They then also have, I suppose I should possibly talk about some of the studio park rides as well. They do also have some really good rides, like the Simpsons ride. That was really good fun. Kind of on the fence, I suppose, with something like Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. There were some good things about it. I actually thought it was quite a long ride, quite forceful. Actually, I love the idea of onboard audio. I love the sort of like design of it. It was quite comfortable, but it was at the same time it wasn't the smoothest. Had a stupidly long queue, and just generally seemed to be just left a little bit to be desired, should we say. I know a lot of people make fun about the brake run, but obviously that does massively improve the capacity of the ride. And I did feel the drops off the brake runs were at least pretty good. So yeah, it was okay. I also thought the Transformers ride was okay, but the problem with the Universal Park is a lot of their rides are fairly similar. So the Transformer one was pretty similar. So they just all kind of blurred into one a little bit, unless it was something really creative or special. Then it was like, oh yeah, fair enough. I'd say we also then have things like Men in Black. It's a lot of fun, really good ride there. And obviously you have the entire Harry Potter sort of area as well, which I haven't even touched on yet, to show how massive these parks are and how easy it is to talk about them in depth. I was actually a little bit disappointed with Escape from Gringotts. That was a bit meh. It wasn't terrible. It was, I think that and Transformers seemed very similar. I, however, was extremely impressed with the one over in Islands of Adventure. That was a lot of fun. Obviously, that has the whole castle to really help it stand out. And happened to be going there with some iffy rain coming in, so it was a bit more miserable, but absolutely raced through the queue and was on it in absolutely no time. And I actually loved the fact it was more just really, really well done. It was really enjoyable. It was a bit one and done, but as I say, the Harry Potter land is just phenomenal. I actually feel that's the same with quite a few of the lands, like the Jurassic Park area, really good. Actually, for the first time, I didn't go on it when I originally went to the park, but I managed to go onto the Jurassic Park water ride as well, which was really good. Did actually see some either really good park action or slightly poor operations, depending on how you want to view it, of one of the people on our boat really being unhappy when we dispatched and then they actually stopped the boat to see if we were okay and wanted to continue. I'm not sure if that would happen at that many other parks. I might be doing quite a few parks a disservice, but I'm pretty sure once you've gone in those parks' mind, you've gone. But yeah, fair play to Universal. They actually were happy to stop the boat and at least check. We were dispatched, in case people care. But yeah, I'd say really enjoyable. Food-wise, thought their food was actually really good. Not a huge fan of ice cream at the Universal parks. It's just a little bit too different, I suppose, but not bad. The parks themselves, as you can imagine, were extremely clean, well presented. Obviously, really busy. There were quite a lot of queues, but that is to be expected. It's like a premium park in some ways. And in fairness, you can kind of tell there were a lot of really good attention to details, lots of music, lots of on-ride audio, lots of theming, lots of interaction. And as I say, you could see people clearly making sure the park was very clean and tidy. It's a very photogenic, picturesque park with some really good rides. As I say, I do have a separate review for Velocicoaster and Hagrid's, just because I feel there's more to talk about. But then there's the main question: is it worth it? And it's a really, really difficult one to answer, because you've got a lot going on. You've got two parks. You've got quite a good selection of rides. Very easy to do 1, 2, or maybe even 3 days there. You've also got the City Walk part as well. You've got obviously the area around there, which is also kind of you could do for free, but also is quite cool. Like, I'd certainly potentially include it. You've got amazing interactive and immersive sort of land. You've got really good IPs, which are quite expensive to do. It's just a bit much, if I'm honest with you. I think if it was like $150 for like a day ticket, and like let's say like $140 for each 2 day, I would be well on board. Yeah, that's well worth it. But when you have something like Silver Dollar City, which is also that sort of like slightly higher end theme park, being like $85, and when you think that like the Six Flags like Platinum Diamond Pass is $250 on its own, and that would be the cost of a Fast Pass, then it becomes a little bit difficult to justify these things. And it's like, don't get me wrong, what they have is brilliant, and I'd highly recommend doing it. And I don't necessarily feel like I've been ripped off, or I don't think I've got exactly. But it's whether or not I've got value for money, and I'm like, and then don't get me wrong, with how they're developing and rebuilding and going over the parks, and with obviously things like Epic Universe coming. If the price ticket was to stay the same with Epic Universe, then I would absolutely say that's actually probably worth it, because then you've got 3 parks for the price. Whereas if it doesn't, then I would be, or it goes up even more, depending on how far, obviously, then it becomes a little bit questionable. But then you also have like Volcano Bay as well. So potentially, as I say, there is definitely a word where it becomes really a good value, where you're getting a lot from it. But as I say, where it is so expensive and where it is quite a busy park, then you could potentially feel like you're being shortchanged and stuff. Don't get me wrong, it's brilliant, and I would absolutely go again, and possibly will once Epic Universe opens. But I just wish it was slightly cheaper. It was a thought I originally had when I booked the tickets and I was looking to book them, where I was like, my God, this is costing a fair amount. It needs to live up to those expectations or that value for money. But it doesn't, but it certainly lives up to being a really good park, if that makes any sense. So anyway, do leave your thoughts and opinions down below. And don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.